Sacred activism. As members of the goddess community, or as people following a pagan path, I believe we have a role to play in helping people reimagine their relationship with nature and envision a more balanced and sustainable future. People are waking up to the need to protect nature. For some people, this involves changing their core beliefs about the natural world. No longer can they assume nature is a boundless store cupboard that you can take from but never give back to, or an annoying, messy encroacher on a clean, man-made concrete world. They are waking up to the need for balance, finally understanding that their relationship with nature needs to be a reciprocal one, something our ancestors understood, something that modern tribal cultures with an unbroken belief system have been trying to get us to understand. This concept of balance is a familiar one to people following a pagan path. Elements of our practice are becoming more familiar to people outside the earth religions. People talk about grounding themselves, imagining a protective circle around them, or even using their minds to manifest what they desire. These techniques are used for self-development and self-fulfillment. Wouldn't it be wonderful if the general public also took on our understanding, our love and respect for the natural world? Unlike a lot of people, we have spent time exploring our relationship to the planet and learning from the seasonal cycles. To follow a pagan path is to see animacy in nature, to value and respect it, to see the divine in everything. Our myths, our rituals and songs help us strengthen our connection to nature. We see the beauty and magic of our world and have experienced the joy, sense of belonging and purpose it gives to us. A definition of sacred activism: working to bring about change in the service of our spiritual beliefs, to protect that which we hold sacred. Here's a quote from Andrew Harvey, a spiritual scholar first credited with using the term. Sacred activism is a transforming force of compassion in action that is born of a fusion of deep spiritual knowledge, courage, love and passion, with wise, radical action in the world. I think goddess-loving people and pagans in general are often people who do experience this deep spiritual connection with nature, a love of the wild and untamed. Sacred activism is on the rise. First Nation people in America and Canada are fighting the construction of pipelines through their sacred lands. In the UK, a sacred activism group has been fighting against proposed new developments at Stonehenge. Maybe we can't all get out onto the streets shouting and using non-violent resistance, but we can all help in some way. This could be by modelling better relationship with nature, by sharing stories, by sharing how rewarding a reciprocal relationship with nature can be. Earth, when held in perfect balance, has enough for everyone. It is the perfect Goldilocks planet for humans. It is a place of exquisite beauty and deadly terror. She has natural regulating systems to keep this balance. Plants and animals have some ability to adapt to slowly changing conditions. Traditionally, we have viewed the earth as our mother, personified as Gaia, Terra Mater, Bamba, Urshe, our Earth Mother, taking care of us, our protector and nurturer. But the rapid changes brought about by human actions, such as mass burning of fossil fuels and mass deforestation, are causing damage. Now she needs our help. In our modern era, humanity has increasingly placed itself as separate from nature, above nature, more powerful than nature. We have forgotten our role as earth stewards. But we are not separate. The water that makes up 60% of our bodies is part of the finite supply of water that formed in the early days of our planet and has been cycling around all living things ever since. Slugs, share 70% of their DNA with us, trees 50%. After we die, the chemicals in our bodies will be recycled into our planet's ecosystem. We are nature, we are the earth, and the earth is us. Pagans are good at understanding the interconnectedness of things. They see the divinity all around. We hear the trees whisper and the streams sing. When we see a deer, we think of Ellen and her pathways. A seal reminds us of stories of magical Selkies and our goddess of the North Sea, Nehelenia. People who follow a pagan path are more aware of the seasons, working with the changing earth energy throughout the year, waiting until the right time of year to gather that particular herb. This intimate knowledge leads to a closer affinity, a deeper understanding. Using festivals like the Celtic Wheel of the Year to help understand the shifting energy patterns of our planet. Around the winter solstice we spend more reflective, quiet time, using this stillness to see more clearly what is important as we develop greater understanding and plant seeds of ideas for the coming year. We party hard at Beltane, harnessing the rising energy and finally shaking off the last of the stillness of winter. At the autumn equinox we feast together. We look out for the apples, nuts and berries nature provides and give thanks. As we make preserves to see us through the winter, we remember to provide a home for hedgehogs getting ready to hibernate. At Imbolc we delight in our first magical sightings of snowdrops and think of Bridie travelling their land, reawakening the green. We are the first to notice and worry when our local nature is in distress, or when it is doing well and we can delight in the abundance. Further, the Wheel of the Year teaches us about the cycle of growth, blossoming, death and rebirth. When we see plants start to dry and decay, we understand the seeds are necessary for new growth, that leaves that fall from the trees feed the soil that feeds the tree. In modern life, often only the growth phase is celebrated, which leads to unrealistic ideas of continual growth that are unhealthy and unsustainable. Even the blossoming of a venture can get ignored in the hurry to start a new project. Humanity's need for continual growth and expansion, often at the expense of the natural world, has brought us to this point where waters are overfished until they are barren. Land is mined till it is scarred and polluted, and our air is filled with industrial waste. We need to teach friends about this cycle, teach them the beauty of decay and its necessity. Help them to look for new shoots in the darkest moments. Show them what is happening in nature right now. Show them ways to reconnect. Share the delights and the disappointments so they can understand better about the spiraling nature of life. Pagans often look to spiritual practices from the past to help inform their modern religious practices. Our ancestors understood about giving back, leaving offerings or sacrifices in exchange for the gifts they gathered. They took metal from the earth to make swords, but in time they returned swords to the earth. They worked the land with respect and reverence, enacting rituals as they planted seeds or reaped their harvest. As modern pagans, even we can become disconnected from our local area. With all the fascinating talks and information online, we can turn away from what is happening on our doorstep. We need to remember to touch base with Mother Nature on a regular basis and help protect our little corner of the planet. As we all know, this is so rewarding and helps to deepen our practice. Being in nature helps to counter the stress of modern living. Studies into forest bathing in Japan have shown how being in nature lowers your blood pressure, increases immunity, reduces depression and improves mental health. Pagans are often pet owners or wildlife watchers. We see the humanity in the animals close to us. We also see or encourage their qualities in ourselves, acting as the protective mother bear, showing the wisdom of the salmon or the wildness of the wolf. Our goddesses and gods shapeshift forms. We understand the symbolic significance of animal totems. These practices and stories help us to leave the ego behind and shapeshift, finding a new way to explore and understand our world, giving us insight and allowing us to feel the connectedness of the web of life, feeling our connection to the world. I'm not saying we should all be perfect eco-warriors. We're all living in this system and have to find ways to survive. But we have an awareness of acting for the greater good of nature, and this is a wisdom that we can share. On a more practical level, we can start by looking at our own practices. Is there any way to make them more nature-friendly? Leave natural offerings that will biodegrade. Litter pick an area before or after ritual or during herb gathering. Plait some grass, twist some willow, or leave dried flowers, rather than tying ribbons in a tree that have artificial dyes that will leach into the ground and poison the tree. Try to make your robes from natural materials or recycle materials from a charity shop. Share what you no longer need with your friends. Share seeds or grow saplings to share with less green-fingered friends. Homegrown produce is healthier and better for the planet, with no packaging or air miles. Share organic gardening tips to help people stop using dangerous chemicals. Share recipes and stories that celebrate the uniqueness of each season. Support the endeavours of fellow pagans. On another level, we can help vision a new world, help people feel that sense of connected belongingness. Help them see meaning and take comfort from the wild, untamed parts of our world, rather than seeing them as scary or messy. Share the delights of nature. Share insights about animals. Share stories and myths that help people reframe their relationship with nature. Invite understanding friends along to open ritual celebrations. Share a sense of awe. In a materialistic world, share the joy of discovering your first ripe, abundant blackberry bush, the delicious smell of blossom, the joy of the sunrise at the winter solstice. Honour your local nature with drumming, singing and ritual. Work energetically at local sacred sites to honour and empower them once more. Show people how they can use beautifully found stones rather than rare imported crystals. Help them experience the magic and beauty of our place firmly in the heart of nature, in the arms of the goddess. We are the wisdom holders, and it is time to share that wisdom.